So this question is asking us to make M the subject of the formula. Now what we've got to realise with any formula is there's always a subject letter, and that is on its own equal to a combination of other terms that might have numbers and letters in them. So we have a subject letter P. In this question they want to make the subject letter M. So in other words, we want to get M isolated on its own, positive, so therefore we've got to move two things. So we're basically having to think of this as P equals H plus 6M, and we're having to move that, and we're having to move that. So what do we move first now? Well, the best thing to do with rearranging is to think of the terms that don't have the subject letter in it, and they are always the ones that you move first. So this does not have the subject letter in it, so that's what I will move first. And to move things, it's the key idea of rearranging is you always do opposite operations. So when we're moving one variable or number to another side of the equal sign, we do opposite operations. That's the key idea. So that's the thing that actually helps you to make sure these questions go right. This term's got no subject letter in it, so move it first. That's a positive thing, so to move it we're going to take it away. H, take away H is 0, so that's going to move because that we've got a 0. But the equals tells us to balance and make sure we do the same to both sides of the equals, so the left hand side also needs to have take away H. I'll go down, always come downwards as you're doing your writing the next lines. So we've got P, take away H, that became 0, so we're left with 6M. Don't need to write the plus sign because that's positive anyway. So what we've got now? Well, the only thing we've got to move now is this 6. Well, we've got to think to ourselves, what is this 6 doing? Well, 6M means 6 times M. So we're having to do the opposite of timesing here, so that's going to be divide. So we divide by 6, but again we've got to do the same to both sides of the equals. So to the left hand side we divide by 6, and to the right hand side we divide by 6. And again, the reason why this works is 6 divided by 6 is 1. That means we'll be left with just 1M. So the 1M is what we wanted, M as the subject on its own and positive. And what's it going to be equal to? Well, we have P take away H, again always thinking of coming top down, so P take away H, and we're dividing by 6. Now again what we should realise is that we use this division line to mean divide, and we're dividing by 6. So that is how we check that it works. Let's have a look. To check itself we would give H and M a value. So to check that this has actually worked, so give it simple values. So I'm going to say H is 1 and M is 2. So look at the original formula. The P value is 1 for the H, plus 6 2's is 12, so 13. What we do now is we put the values of P and H into the rearranged formula, and if it works it should give us the value of M that we chose. So P is 13, take away the H value we chose, which was 1, and we're dividing by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 2 was the original value we chose, so our check worked. So again, it's useful to have a habit of checking your answers that you get at the end to make sure they work by substituting numbers in. Now remember, the checking process you should do at the end of the exam. You know, go through the questions, get as many done as you can. Then when you've got that little bit of time left at the end of the exam, which we find all students do, then you go back into the exam paper doing your checking to make sure you haven't made any silly mistakes. Okay, so that's rearranging formulae. It's about getting the subject letter isolated on its own, moving everything by doing the opposites. The term that doesn't have the subject letter in, do that first, move that first, then deal with the subject letter term. Then you can get the term, sorry, the subject letter on its own equal to the other bits.